Okay, we're looking today at engineering materials. And we've got some information on the board now. When we're describing materials in engineering and we're describing processes and whatnot, characteristics of materials, we need to use the correct language. Some of this language you will have encountered in your junior science. So you're going to be copying this off the board. We've got engineering materials, grouping of materials. So the first things that we're looking at are elements, and an element is a single atom, such as hydrogen, anything that's on the periodic table, which gives us all our elements. We've got compounds, which is two or more elements. I've said fixed there, haven't I? Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, in a fixed proportion. Sorry, that is correct. In a fixed proportion, e.g. H2O, which is two hydrogen atoms joined to an oxygen, which gives us water, and NaCl, sodium chloride, which is our common table salt. And then we've got solutions, which is a solute dissolved in a solvent. So the solvent's the thing that does the dissolving, such as water, and the solute is the salt that we put in the water and dissolve. And of course, mixtures are pure compounds or elements mixed in no fixed ratio. Okay, so that's the first grouping of materials: elements, compounds, solutions, and mixtures. The other one that we can look at, which is in my magic blue book here, keeping notes is a really good way of remembering things, writing things down. I know that you probably just want to go take a photo or a still from this video. If you write stuff down, you think about how things are organized and you start to remember things. Don't be lazy. You don't learn by being lazy. So the other grouping we've got is metal and non-metal. Okay, so metals, and we've got non-metals. And we've got, in the periodic table, we've got 70 metals, and all up with the naturally occurring elements, we've got 90, this is just a little aside here, 92 naturally occurring elements. So there are some of our groupings. Now for the non-metals, we can have ceramics. What else have we got here? Polymers, which is our plastics. We've got biological materials, and we've got composite, which is materials that are made up of a number of materials, such as Kevlar is a composite you'd be familiar with, carbon fiber, things like that. So that's a nice little what would we call it? Summary. That's a good word. Losing my words. That's a nice little summary of the engineering materials and how you might be categorizing materials and thinking about the categorization of materials. What I'm going to get you to do now as a little task is we are going to define and give examples of the following: metals. So what are metals? Give some examples. Ceramics. What are ceramics? Give some examples. Polymers. Those are plastics. Give some examples. Biological materials. and composite materials. So now is an opportunity for you, and I'm just going to make sure that's all of viewable on the board. It is. Just make sure that you go and find each one of those terms and give me an example. And obviously this grouping of materials into elements, compounds, solutions and mixtures, and this idea of metals and non-metals, we want to copy that all in our notes as well. So we're on our way to understanding some of the terminology that we're going to use when we're discussing engineering materials. It does seem a little bit overwhelming at times, the amount of terminology that you need to remember in this course. If worrying about that or the amount of work that it requires is not going to assist you in the process of getting this down pat, what's going to get you over the line is to really engage with this material. Read it, do lots of reading, do lots of thinking about properties and materials, and you'll slowly get it, okay? We've got 2 years, this is the beginning of the course, this is when you really need to apply yourselves. Some of the materials quite difficult to understand. Some of the material is, there's a lot of material, but if you spend the time now really making good notes and really thinking about things, and when you have a question in your head that you, or something about a particular subject you don't understand, now is the time to really think about it and approach your teacher and ask the questions you need to ask so that you understand it. So pause the video and get that information down, and then what I want you to do is make sure that you define and give examples of this list that's over here. And I'll see you in the next video.